All right, here we are at the Clear Points Crystal Studios, Crystal Clear Point Studios. Where am I? Am
You're
I
at the
in?
Crystal Clearpoint Studios.
Okay, so here we are, and today we are doing herb talk, or if you're in
Herb
England,
Talk.
herb talk.
Yeah.
Hello, which herb are we exploring today?
Well, I'm Luann Morris, and I am Herbaloo's apothecary, and we're going to talk about Hawthorn.
Hawthorn. And he a
Hawthorn.
writer?
No, he's not. Well, I guess it could be a rocker, but
Okay, all right, wait a minute. You told me to find the FDA disclaimer. And
yes,
and I actually do what I'm told, contrary to popular belief. And I emailed it to myself and I can read it. So do you want me to read it?
yes, I do.
All right. So the FDA disclaimer here is these statements and the products of this company are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. We're just doing this for the fun of it. Please consult your physician before implementing any new diet, exercise, and dietary supplement programs, especially if you have pre existing medical conditions or are taking prescribed medications. Compliments of our FDA. Boom.
Yes. So there's another uh warning from me that says do not go out and forage in the wild if you don't know what the plants look like. There are too many plants that look similar, and some of them are poisonous. And you don't, unless you can have somebody show you. If I had property, even I would go to an expert and say, I need you to come over and walk through my property with me and tell me what I do and don't have.
So you're saying in a very nice way, don't putz around if you don't know what you're doing.
Yes, I am saying that because anytime I want to use an herb, I, even though I may know kind of what it does, I go and do the big research and make sure that I understand exactly what it does and doesn't do. And a lot of times the information comes from years, decades, centuries of use by shamans, um, herbalists, um, and other basic people that helped you get well in the early centuries, shall I say.
So what exactly is hawthorn? Is it a tree? Is it a bush? Is it what is
I'm
it?
going to tell you, it is Cratagus. That's the genus. And the species is monogana. Monogana.
That
So,
sounds like a bee.
yeah, well, maybe.
Wrong with you? I got
But
mono. I
okay,
can't do
it's also called hawthorn, quick hawthorn, thorn apple, may tree, white thorn, may flower, not to be confused with may apple. Those are two different things. Or hawberry.
Huh.
I want to show you what it's a small tree, or it could be considered a bush. Let me see if I can share this.
I fixed it so you could.
This is what it looks like, uh, just from a distance.
It's
It's
not sharing. We don't see it.
oh foop.
We are so technically challenged. It's amazing that we get online.
See, do
Oh,
you
there we
see it now?
go.
Okay.
There. Yes. Now I say, oh, that's pretty.
Yeah,
That's
it's not really big. As a matter of fact, if I was looking at that from across a field, I would think it was some sort of plum or pear or something like that. That's kind of it can range anywhere from 15 to 30 feet. It's let's see.
I was gonna
I'm
say, I'd
having a
call
little
that a tree. I don't care how big it is. I'd call that
in
a tree.
Texas, that's what we call a tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, sometimes it has sometimes they call it a shrub. So yeah.
That's not a shrub. A shrub is in front of your house and it's less than 3 foot tall. That's a tree.
So that's a tree. Okay. So it's a tree. I'm having
So do
trouble
you use the
navigating.
leaves or the blooms on that? What do you use on
So
that?
here's the blooms.
Ooh, pretty.
But what some people use, some people actually use the leaves and smoke the leaves, and sometimes the leaves are in natural cigarettes, you
Oh,
know?
you mean like really smoking?
Yeah, that kind of smoking.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's really showy, you know, when it blooms, there's like blooms everywhere, all over, almost like a cherry tree, you know?
Does it get you high when you smoke it?
I'm sorry, what?
Does it
No,
get you high?
I don't think it does. I have, so the blooms can range anywhere to white to a pink to a dark pink.
Mm.
It's native to the northern hemisphere. It was originally found in Albania, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Bulgaria, Romania, Hungary, Macedonia, Poland, and the United Kingdom. It's almost native here now because we've brought it here. And you know, the FDA does not control herbs, and we don't want them to. But this particular herb, if you put it into a compound, you have to report it. And I never did find out exactly why, but I'm thinking it's because the flavonoids and the procyanids, which are colors in the fruit itself, can actually react to other complex structures. So flavonoids is the main thing that we are going to use from the hawthorn. Where's my other picture? Huh? There it is. This is
So
the berry. The
well, wait a
berry.
minute. I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
When you say report it to the, you mean report it to the FDA?
Yes, any manufacturing company that adds hawthorn to their compound has to report, you know, after they manufacture it, they have to report that they have made X number, X kind of medication or X kind of supplement is what they call it, that contains hawthorn. Now,
So
I never did
is
find
it
out
is it because
why,
it
but
can kill you? Can it
I
kill
beg your
you?
pardon?
Can it kill you?
No, I think it's because of the interaction with other compounds. And it might make you, you can be really sensitive to it.
Mm. Mm.
So that's
All
the other thing you have to be careful of is sensitivity. If you know, if you've ever, this is what the tree looks like after the fruit have set. That's nice red berries. And
Those are pretty.
you can see the leaves and the shape of the leaves. So it does. And there are many birds that love it. Cedar waxwings. What are some of the other red birds? This, and it looks totally different though when the come on, no, where did it go? Nope, that's not what we want.
Just a
Nope.
little free advertising there. Pay no
Yeah,
attention to the advertising behind the wall.
exactly. Pay no attention to that because I've got another picture that may surprise you just a bit.
I wonder how many people though do things like that and don't know that they're supposed to report it to like the FDA and stuff, and how much of that goes on.
Well, if you're a manufacturer, you should have that in your, do you see just the naked limb?
No, no naked limb.
No
I could take
naked
my shirt
limb.
off. I could take my shirt off.
No, not those kind.
I mean, so if you made something with it, would you have to report it? I'm hung up on
I
this.
don't think so because I'm an herbalist. I'm not a manufacturer.
Got it.
And this has to do with adding different things together where the compounds interact. And if you're just adding it, like I use it as a supplement. It helps with blood pressure. Okay, now can you see the branch?
Yeah, look at those thorns. Ooh.
That is what you have to look out for. That is how it's got its name. It was called a haw tree, and now when they identify the thorns, hawthorn.
Ooh, those are
So
fierce.
those are going to cause you extreme pain if you're going to go out and forage for these hawthorn berries.
I don't
So
want
let me go back to what do I want to go back to?
I don't know, but we see all these little tiny icons on the bottom there.
Oh,
Mm.
no one cares.
That was pretty.
Okay, so that's what it looks like. And let me go back to my okay, the leaves make excellent non-tobacco smoking alternative. They're often included in smoking blends for heart healing qualities. And that's one of the things that hawthorn is made for. There's another strange thing that hawthorn does. If you take the tree and you cut it down and use it as firewood, the fire from that wood is so hot that it will melt pig iron.
Good Lord.
Yes, it's very, very hot. That's what makes it particularly good for camping because it will heat up really fast.
I don't
And
know what pig iron is, but that sounds very hot.
it is. It's what they put in those big furnaces to make iron sheets and things like that. Pig iron.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So I know because I'm reading my notes. I'm sorry. Oh, the blossoms are very stinky. They're not good smelling. But the reason they're very stinky is because the fly or flies are the main insect that pollinates the hawthorn. So they're calling the flies with their nastiness.
So they think they're landing on a pile of doo-doo and they're
Probably. Probably. So the hawthorn berry is very, very rich in polyphenols. And these are powerful antioxidants that are found in the plant. So let's think of it as the chemicals of the plant that really help us. And that's number one benefit of the hawthorn berry. That's loaded with antioxidants and really helps us. It can help with cancers. There is a North American cancer is it in Tulsa, Oklahoma? And they combine herbal products with chemotherapy and radiation and things like that. Yes. So they're kind of a one stop all things, anything that will help either target the cells or help your body deal with the effects of the chemotherapy or the radiation.
So is there anything that's like on the shelf that I can just go buy that already has hawthorn in it?
Well, yeah, there's hawthorn supplements.
I didn't know that.
Yes, I have. I bought a hawthorn supplement on our favorite Amazon, and I take it every morning because it also is supposed to help with blood circulation. And by helping with blood circulation and opening up my veins and arteries, it helps lower my blood pressure.
Oh my God, I take that too. I didn't know that was hawthorn. I take it for varicose veins.
Yeah, that's
Oh my
because
gosh.
it helps. It helps all. So the other things that the antioxidants help with are like type 2 diabetes, asthma, some infections, premature skin aging. So it might not be a bad thing to put in the skincare. So there's not a lot of research as usual for different kinds of herbs, but they're doing research in animals and in human cells, not in humans, but in human cells. So that particularly looks good for Hawthorn. It's also considered anti-inflammatory. If you have a chronic anti-inflammatory like fibromyalgia, what am I trying to think of? Anything that is considered inflammatory. Maybe even some sort of liver diseases. Some of those are considered inflammatory. So anytime, because it opens up the cells and allows your body to get a better, it says it treats high blood pressure, and that's why I told you why, because it actually can relax the blood vessels and allow the blood to flow better. This actually gives, if you take 500 milligrams of the extract daily, it will reduce your diastolic pressure, which is the bottom number.
Well, somebody did some testing somewhere for them to know all that.
There are, and in 2006, they did some research with 1,200 milligrams. But the problem with this research is they're very small. Like there's only 80 people in this research. That's not a big number of people to do research on. Those 80 people, of course, half of them had the Hawthorn, half of them had the placebo. But in the half that got the Hawthorn, their blood pressure stayed down. It's also may reduce cholesterol levels. And the reason I'm saying may is the same reason we read the FDA disclaimer. Is because this has only been proven through very small research and through herbalists and practitioners of Chinese medicine when they're using it, because it's, like I said, it's years, decades, maybe even a century since somebody first used it. And so they studied it, but not in a scientific way.
Not in a controlled fashion.
Correct. So they gave it to their patients thinking it would do something, sometimes I think these ancient herbalists and shamans, they had a system, if it was red or if it had purple or if it came from a bush or a tree or a plant. So they had different ways that they kind of decided how herbs could help you.
My grandmother used to always say that you knew it was a good herb if it didn't kill you, and that's how people take this, and if you don't die, then it's helping you.
And many of these things came from the American Indians, the Native Indians, because they did things like willow. They would chew willow when they were in pain, because willow is the constituents in willow, or the plant chemicals, are the basis for aspirin.
Right.
So that would.
I always thought it was interesting though, because they always said that white men coming to this country killed off Native Americans with diseases because they had no immune system. Well, the practical side of that is they had no immune system because they didn't have the same diseases. Why didn't they have the same diseases? Because they obviously knew how to take care of themselves. Mm-hmm. So,
yes. But that's what happened. Europeans they had all kinds of diseases and stuff, but the Native Americans here were never exposed to them until they came.
Right.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So there was, let's see. The thought is that Hawthorn reduces triglycerides. So that's what helps the cholesterol levels overall. There were some animal studies, and they did some different studies on fastings for cholesterol, but they were very small, like 50, 64. So it's not anything that is on a big research project. In other words, not where you would have 1,000 people in your project. The more data you can get, the more expert you can be about what it does and what it doesn't do, because you've done the research. The other thing they believe is that Hawthorn can help with digestion, because the prebiotics, it works as a prebiotic to help nourish the gut bacteria. So they still haven't, they only did one small study where they half of the people took dietary fiber, half of the people took Hawthorn. And of course, the half that took Hawthorn said, yes, it worked better than the dietary fiber. Well,
yeah, but let's think about this. That almost sounds like a miracle drug, because first of all, digestion and it affects so many different parts of our body, so if you don't digest your food well, you don't get your nutrition. Also, it can affect your blood pressure and all this other stuff. So just having the prebiotic is a huge thing in going toward wellness. If it takes care of inflammation, then we're dealing with all the things like inflammation of the heart, the organs, fibromyalgia, a lot of autoimmune diseases.
yes.
If it works with triglycerides and deals with the high blood pressure, so really, except for stamping out cancer and the common cold, Hawthorn sounds like it works for almost just about everything else.
Well, here is the caveat to that. Herbs work different for different people. It's just like medications. I took ashwagandha. I had no side effects as far as sleepiness, or, it did help my anxiety big time. It still does. But other people who have taken it had stomach upset. Other people that took it, it made them so sleepy. So that's still, if it's something that you think will help any kind of symptoms you have, you can try it. You usually need to give it 5 or 6 weeks.
Well, also you need to have a comparison to have fair that they're doing under the same conditions. Are you taking it in the morning or night? Are you taking it with food or on an empty stomach? Are you taking the same brand? Because you can switch brands of different herbs and things and get different results. Were they taking the same dosage? Were they taking a high dosage? Were they taking a low dosage? Were they even taking, or are they just liars? So
well, I don't think you can take it for 2 or 3 days and say, oh, it hurts my stomach, I can't take it anymore. Well, that's when you have to kick in and go, okay, did I eat it with food? Did I eat it not with food? Maybe I need to eat it with something fatty. Sometimes that can keep your stomach from reacting.
Or maybe I need to lay off the jalapeno poppers, that might help.
Exactly.
So that's what gets me about a lot of this stuff when people report, when things work and they don't work. That I want to know all the conditions. Maybe that's the investigator in me. I don't know, but I want to know.
I think it is, and it's the scientist in me. Why didn't it work? How long do I need to give this? Well, herbs do not work quickly. And that's the other thing that people forget, is they forget that it takes 5 or 6 weeks to see the real difference.
Right.
So that's why you need an herbalist or a Chinese medicine practitioner, or you at least need a practitioner or a doctor that deals with different kinds of medications other than just prescribed medications. We're calling them supplements, but that's the way it is. Another aspect of it is the anti-aging properties, and it talks about how it can help stimulate the collagen in your face or on your body. But you need to be careful when you take it, because sometimes if you have excess UV exposure, it can cause skin irritations. So you need to know that. And if you're not taking it or consulting with an herbalist, then how would you know that? Have you done your due diligence?
It's really funny what the sun can do to us because, I'm getting treatment on my legs for my veins. And on the little piece of paper that they give you, it says that you can have a dark line where that vein is shutting down and it eventually will fade, except don't get in the sun because if you get in the sun, that can make that a permanent dark mark in your leg. And you're like, well, how does that even work? It's under the skin.
Of course, but the UV goes beyond that.
It must get really deep and much deeper than we realize. So
Well, in the summertime, when they talk about the UV levels, that's when you need to pay attention. If it's very low, 2 or 3, but in the summertime, it can be high. I think it goes to 10.
it's
So,
amazing anyone over 50 is alive because we used to put all that baby oil with iodine in it.
no, any kind of
What
oil,
were we
coconut
doing?
oil.
Yeah. What were we doing? Frying ourselves. We were literally put us in a cast iron skillet because we're going to fry it up.
So another aspect of the Hawthorn is it may reduce anxiety. I can always use that. But they did a study, 264 people, getting bigger. But they had a mixture of hawthorn extract, magnesium, and California poppy flowers.
Poppy flowers. Well, yeah, I'm not going to feel any anxiety taking poppy. What the hell?
So they, it was unclear how hawthorn had anything to do with it or not.
Yeah,
And
excuse me.
I'm guessing with poppies, no, probably not.
Oh my
But
God.
anyway, they did that. So, and this is a controversial one for me. Used to treat heart failure.
Mm,
There are
mm.
lots of different kinds of heart failure. Are you talking about the kind where the vessels constrict? Then maybe hawthorn does help. Are you talking about the kind of heart problems where you make too much fluid around the heart? Yeah, I'm not going there with that one. That's why you can treat the symptoms. The doctor can diagnose because herbalists, they don't diagnose. They just help you treat the symptoms you're trying to get rid of. So, there are so many things.
I'm going to tell you right now, Luann, if my heart stops, tell them to put those electrodes on me and shock me. And
Yeah.
we're not going to wait for the hawthorn to kick in.
No, we're not. So the last thing is they said it's easy to add to your diet. You can add the raw berries. You could do it in a tea. You can do it in jams and desserts. Wine and vinegar. I have never seen hawthorn wine. And then of course take supplements because it's convenient.
Right, right.
I don't know how the hawthorn berry tastes. I'm thinking it's probably sour. So I don't know if I would want to say, oh, hawthorn berries and throw a few in my food.
Well, it seems to me my grandmother had a tree with those thorns on it in her yard. And if that's the case, those berries are really bitter.
Well, and that when they say you can add it to your diet, well, yeah, you can, but why?
Yeah.
It's not a flavor, it's not a taste that we normally want in our food. So there is a little advice here about finding a brand that you can trust. And most of the brands who have been approved, or that's not the word I want to use. When an independent third party has actually gone through the
Audited them.
Yes. And actually made sure that what they said was correct. In other words, a lot of times it'll say a percentage. It's so much hawthorn by percentage, or it's hawthorn extract. And you need to know the difference. Sometimes it says hawthorn powder. That's what mine says. So it's not an extract, so it wouldn't be concentrated. But, the milligrams is important. And there are independent labs that actually measure what's in it. And if you have a company that you know that you use other supplements with, Nature Made was the one that came off the top of my head, but I believe they're governed by, or they allow a third party to test their products. And
Well,
that's important.
yeah, I can't imagine buying something like that without knowing it's had some kind of quality control or testing or something, And of course, I'm so suspicious of, the man, corporate, America, corporate world, that they just lie to us, So I read tons of reviews, tons and tons and tons of reviews. And I won't buy anything off of Amazon that's going to go in my body unless it's got over 1,000 reviews. And then it's got to be a high review.
Well,
So,
I look for that third party verification when I'm
yeah,
dealing with supplements. And there's one called the Consumer Lab and one
yeah,
called the National Science Foundation. So there's several. The other thing you need to be aware of is the side effects. I mean, they could be sweating, headaches, sleepiness, palpitations, rashes, agitation, gastrointestinal effects. So there are some effects that are not, and since everybody's so different, you may need to find another herb that does the same thing.
right, right, right.
And let's see, sometimes there's medication or drug interactions. You need to be very aware of those. I don't, Hawthorn may increase the activity of digitalis. That's not a good thing. So
It's digitalis.
if you take digitalis and have a heart problem, you probably should not take Hawthorn.
So digitalis is a medicine for
For
heart.
heart.
Okay.
Yeah. It helps. It's one of those, it's actually from the foxglove flower. That's where it originally came from. And now they've synthesized it.
Mm.
So it's actually from a plant also. They've synthesized from the plant. But if you're already taking digitalis, you don't want to take a Hawthorn, because Hawthorn does the same thing. It relaxes the blood vessels.
So you talk to your doctor.
Correct.
Say, doctor, help
I've been
me.
talking to a friend who is having back issues, and I'm currently formulating a lotion that will help with inflammation and pain. And she said the doctor did not want her to take turmeric. She said it interacted with her heart medication. Well, first of all, I said, yay for your doctor knowing that. And B, asking how he feels about you having it topically. So she did clear that with her doctor to use it topically, because it doesn't interact with her medication the same way. Okay, let's see what else. So they're going to be doing more studies about lowering blood pressure and lowering cholesterol, and also the reactions of inflammation, and does it help? And that's my main concern about herbs, is we need to do more research. We need to do more things that we can say, we proved this, instead of saying, well, they've been doing it for thousands of years. Don't you want to do it too? To me, now in this age, in the 21st century, we need to do the research and prove it, instead of just willy-nilly. Of course, we know what it's helped with in the past, and we know what symptoms it's helped with in the past, so we can start there. But then now let's prove it, that more than 50% of the people are helped by using a particular herb.
Well, the problem that we're going to probably run into is that it's a double-edged sword, because we want more testing. Of course we do. But at the same time, to get more testing, more and more private companies are going to go for government subsidies and grants. Well, the more that we do that, then the more the government's going to want to get involved. And at the same time, our pharmaceuticals are so fucking high that, we need to have alternatives. But if we get the government involved, then they're going to want to regulate everything, and then everything's going to go sky high.
And
So
then the
now
FDA is going to tell you it has to be by prescription only.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's just such a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
So, the thing about it is that I just think more people need to take control of their own health and do their own research. And, I'm constantly researching stuff. I guess that's kind of my hobby. I enjoy doing that. Like somebody say, oh, so-and-so had blah, blah, blah. And I'm on Google immediately, Googling everything, looking up things, oh my God. I was the kid that lived in the library looking up stuff all the time. So,
well, my father took tons of medication, but he had a physician's desk reference, which is a huge, thick book about every medication that is prescribed. Most of them by prescription, but some of them over the counter. And he never took a new medication without doing the research. And
I have a physical condition to where I don't absorb nutrients well, and I don't absorb calories and all that other stuff. The backstory doesn't matter. However, because I do research the supplements and how to get extra things into my body and stuff, I don't know of anyone my age that's not on medication except me. I take no medication, have not taken medication in years. I take a buttload of supplements, compared to the average person probably. But, I take them twice a day, a handful here, a handful there later on in the evening. So
I have learned to control my anxiety. The Hawthorn I take really helps reduce my blood pressure. I mean, I can just tell it. When my blood pressure is up, I have this pressure in my neck. And I don't have that when I take the Hawthorn.
Right.
And of course, I have a blood pressure cuff too, which also tells me that it's working. But it's something that you have to you have to experiment almost on yourself to know what medications work for you and what milligrams work for you. I mean, people can suggest it. They suggested 500 milligrams to start with, and you could go as high as 1,200. So, I believe that supplements, herbals can help, but you still need to talk to an herbalist, a Chinese medicine practitioner, or your doctor about things that you want to take.
Yeah, I agree. And in case anybody out there is trying to read my body language right now, I am not defensive. I am cold, and I have ADHD bad today, and I'm trying to make myself sit still. I'm having a hard time sitting still. So just know I'm engaged, and I'm not being protective or anything else. Somebody said something about that the other day about my body language. I'm like, you're a terrible body language reader. That's not what that means.
Well, there's other reasons that you can do this. There's other reasons you're doing this because you're shaking. So,
well, it's cold. It's cold in my office today, and also I'm just struggling to sit still. So I'm holding myself down right now.
Well, I hope some of this information really helps. I think that you could also, think about brewing a tea. Sometimes I just get sick and tired of taking pills, but it's harder to control the milligrams you're getting when you do that. But I guess if nothing else, if you take nothing else from these little herb talks, take these things. You need to talk to an herbalist or someone who is knowledgeable of supplements. They need to know what your diagnosis is, which they do not do. You have to get that from your doctor. You still have to see a physician, sorry. And then when you're having symptoms, they can certainly help you by using and don't say it didn't work. Say, could we try something else? I don't feel this herb is helping, because there are other herbs that do similar things that could be more helpful.
Yeah, it's not a magic pill. You have to give it time to kick in. It's
Yep.
just, any medication, they'll tell you to take it for 6 weeks. And if they're weaning you off a medication, it usually takes 6 weeks. So
Right.
get over yourselves, people. It's not going to work overnight. So, all
Yeah.
right. Tell them how to get a hold of you so they can
Uh,
come and talk to you or get a consultation or buy some product or something.
you can see my products at herbal, HERBAL -LU.com. Or you can email me at herballu1105@gmail.com. Or you can call me 214-662-6032. But please leave a message and that you want to talk about herbs and your name and of course your telephone number. But there are many times when I'm busy doing other things like the Zoom with Deborah.
This is so important.
Yeah. And I'm in the apothecary making something or formulating. I do not like to disturb my process from formulating because I make mistakes when that happens.
Well, and I'll tell y'all a little secret. We don't put a lot of thought into our other shows. We get on about 10 minutes before we start recording. Go, what do you want to talk about today? Luann spends a lot of time preparing for these things and researching them and putting together the pictures and stuff like that. So these are well prepared. The others, we just fly by the seat of our pants,
Right.
which I like to do. So,
Well, sometimes when you're talking about an herb I really know well, I can fly by the seat of my pants, but I prefer not to.
yeah, well, when you're talking about something like that, your health and things like that, we want to give you the best information possible. So I'm Deborah Colleen Rose with Investigative Solutions Group, your eye on the world, and Miles of Smiles events. And do we have a slogan? I forgot what my slogan is, but it's interactive, intuitive entertainment.
Encourage.
Encourage, empower, and enlighten. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. I'm telling you, my ADD is off the charts today. And so you can go to those sites. You can find me on Facebook. I'm pretty well branded on Google. Just type in my name, find my number, call us, leave a message. If you can't find Luann, I'll find her for you because I am a private investigator. So
Well, she knows where I live.
I do. I do. All right. Tell everybody goodbye.
Bye now.
This has been a Herb Talk or Herb Talk with Luann Morris, and we'll see you next time.